Lagoke Hip Hop Festival in Burkina Faso, which I don't think they're doing anymore. There's the Indigenous Hip Hop Gathering in Uganda. There's Festigraph, a graffiti festival in Dakar. These organizations are pulling in folks from various parts of the continent as well as the diaspora in the name of hip hop culture, but also kind of bringing in these other elements. Again, hip hop has been about confronting the system, and I think it's important when we look at the difference between wanting to change the system and wanting access to the system. If what we're fighting for is access to the system, then the oppression and inequality will continue. If we want to change the system, that's the only way in which we'll kind of break down these inequalities. And so I think we also, when we're talking about steps forward, we have to also look at what we're trying to do. Trying to change the system, or do we too want a seat at the table? Do we want a chance to turn to be massive? Finally, kind of saying in terms of, I didn't talk about gender at all, which is unfortunate, but we've seen a lot of progress in terms of Pan-Africanism around the issue of gender. Black women coming together on certain issues. And so in the kind of realm of hip-hop culture, there's been a convergence of discussion about experiences, violence against women, female artists all over the continent and the diaspora talking about violence against women. Representations of gender in the media, representations of gender in terms of in our cultures, and how we address women, how we deal with women, patriarchy, representations of female sexuality, and whether or not women are even allowed to represent their sexuality without being called a whore. Within Africa, within African American cultures, contrary to the stereotypes, there are a lot of conservative ideas of how women are supposed to behave and represent themselves and express themselves. And so what you are seeing is female artists really having conversations around their similar experiences and really saying that, wow, violence against women in the African American community is just as serious an issue as it is in the South African context or in Kenya or what have you. And so I do think that we've seen more movement and more kind of groups coming together, whether it's through hip-hop culture or even outside of that, around gender, than we have in other areas. I think there's been a lot of progress with Black women, African women, African American women coming together and realizing that they share similar experiences and have similar strategies that have been somewhat effective in trying to deconstruct the gender box that women are often placed in.
We started this afternoon's conference with a moment of silence to remember the martyrs that have died and the ancestors that are no longer with us in the physical realm. Let us take a moment and acknowledge all those yet to be born individuals who will be a part of the Pan-African vision. Today's conference on Pan-Africanism is an extraordinarily serious topic. It is a topic that comes to us soaked in the blood and tears of thousands of people. I am inspired by our panelists and by our participants who have reminded me that the dream is still alive. I want to thank Melvin for reminding us to be strategic in our thinking. Let us move on. Let us move forward. Let us keep the fires burning. And as I ask for permission to open the conference from our elders, I will now ask for permission to close the conference. So I have permission. And with that, the conference is officially closed. Thank you for your participation.
Hello. Let's give a round of applause to the moderator, Julius Johnson.